You were born with individual strengths and a unique purpose. Don't let fears, false beliefs, or life's happenings diminish your influence. It's time to live and lead for impact. Host Kirsten Ross, expert of transformation, will help you defeat the drama and overcome the trauma that can stop you in your tracks. You'll gain focus, find confidence, and take bold action. Unleash passionate, purposeful you. Let's go.
Welcome to Live and Lead for Impact. I'm Kirsten Ross, your host, and this is episode number 181. I have an awesome guest for you today. We're going to talk about play. How often do we talk about play in the same sentence as we're talking about business? So I love what she's doing with the art of play and helping people de-stress. So her name is Rona Lewis. And, you know, the comedian in her, I think that she gave me the form, that little behind the scenes look, but in the form I asked for pronunciation. And Rona Lewis, who's, come on now, it's one of the simpler names, but she gave me a tremendous pronunciation of it. So I love it. So I have Rona Lewis today, and she's the co-founder and CEO of Playful Project, a company that changes corporate culture and assists remote workers, at least during the pandemic, to ignite engagement and explode productivity utilizing aspects of purposeful and attuned play. She's a professional speaker and has over 10 years consulting experience and 20 years of corporate experience, ending with a VP of ad sales title. She's an expert in playing with corporate employees for productivity and creativity, team building, brainstorming, and more. Welcome, Rona.
Thank you. Yes, lots more, lots of ways to play and make everyone happier and more productive. Yay!
Yes, and I'm going to say I did laugh when I saw the pronunciation that you added to the form for me.
Can I tell you, for a name that has 4 letters, my first name gets, is it Rana? Is it Rhoda? Like, where do you see the D? It's 4. Rana, I could understand, but anyway. So
okay,
yes,
so good thing. So I didn't mess it up. I mean, mine gets messed up all the time. So, I'm so excited. I tell you, like, especially where we are right now, and I know you and I had a great conversation the other day about during this pandemic, it's tough for teams to stay engaged, and and people feel lonely and all of that stuff. So, tell me a little bit more about your work and the impact that you're making in this world.
Well, overall, Playful Mind Project shifts stress levels to a more positive, playful mindset, and this takes a lot of different forms. We want to teach people how to be more vulnerable and authentic and resilient on a lot of levels. When we're in our adult mind, we get so mistrustful um, and scared to say ideas, things like that. People have forgotten how to play and be lighthearted. If you stop to think about it, this country was started by Puritans, and it's the Puritan ethic. They were so, they were just so anti enjoyment overall.
Right.
And, right. And it just doesn't work anymore. It's a new world in more ways than one now. And we are here. We play people are here to make sure people have fun in it. And,
I love that. I
go
mean,
ahead. Yeah.
I was going to say it think about when we were little. Like, shoot, you got a new dress. You twirl in that thing forever.
Heck yeah.
Just for the fun of it, to watch the ruffles. Like, we could find enjoyment in the smallest things, and it's still available to us.
It is, if we allow ourselves to let go.
Yeah.
Kids laugh about 300 times a day. Adults, on the average, 7. What the heck, kids?
Yeah.
God, and our tagline is shift happens when you have a playful mind, and shift does happen. Our goal is to get people to realize, productivity is going to increase as you have less ego, because the more ego you have, the more you're going to stymie progress, because it has to
Mm-hmm.
be all about you and your ideas. And when you're more open, and when you're more playful, and when you trust more, there's going to be more collaboration, there's going to be better understanding, because you're going to have more respect and openness for your fellow man, with a better life outlook, and a more positive mindset, even if you don't um, agree with everything. I have friends who are on the other side of the spectrum, politically, and I'm not going to tell you which one I am, because it
Good,
it
good,
doesn't
good
matter.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah, and the fact is, if they have a good heart, I don't care. They can believe whatever they want. It's not like, um, I don't believe in, I'm never speaking to you again because you voted for this person, or because you voted for that person. Before this, we were all kind of having fun anyway. And so some things, it's just, people make more of a deal out of them, because they want things to be their way. And as soon as you get that ego part out of the way, it's a lot easier to just play with what is and who is. Stop to think about it. When you were a kid, did you really concentrate on the kind of clothes your friends wore, or the color of their skin, or anything like that? You just wanted to have fun.
Yep.
You know, we didn't judge nearly as much as we do now. We didn't judge at all. You know,
Right. Yep. And I'm just I'm shocked at the average adult laugh 7 times, and that
yeah,
makes me sad. Now I know that I am above that, so I'm gonna pat myself on the back.
right.
I do. Trust me, I have gained the ability to laugh at myself, absolutely. So I give myself plenty of reasons. I'm like
Right.
super funny to myself. And I
That's what
also
I
feel like
always
that
say.
gives me license to laugh at other stuff that,
Yeah,
happens
right.
that people do,
And that,
etc.
yeah, and that's actually a sign of very high emotional intelligence, if you can laugh at yourself. I mean, I always say I'm my own best audience.
Yeah.
You know, I remember years ago, and I'm probably dating myself. What was the Arthur, the movie Arthur,
Uh-huh.
and um, what's his name, who starred in it? I'm blanking on his name. Dudley Moore.
Yeah.
There's one scene, and he's riding in a car or something, and he just bursts out laughing, and so he just said, "Sometimes I think funny thoughts." I'm like, oh my god, me too.
I
Uh,
love that.
it's right. And just, who cares what anybody else thinks? They may look at you funny if you start laughing, and that's okay.
I tell you, and I'm one of those people. My husband, he'll say like, "Uh-oh, there she goes," because I have definitely been known to laugh until I cry, and actually, I celebrate that too, because
Yes,
that is it's just so freeing. And I mean, it is. It's not always the best timing, when that's going to happen.
right.
But and I will say, like, I hit that tipping point, and anyone who's done this knows the tipping point. But like the sound change, and like I said, my husband can look at me and go, "Uh-oh, there she goes."
Right. Well, and there's nothing that will make you laugh more than repressed laughter and giggles. If you're at a ceremony or at a meeting, and it's
Yes.
it's it's the, it's the worst and the best at the same time.
Oh my gosh, you're making me think of it was my aunt's funeral,
Oh,
and
perfect.
I know it's so not, and something in the ceremony reminded us of Mr. Bean.
Uh-oh.
And but you know what? She would have appreciated that
Well, and that's
that
the
we
whole
had that
thing.
response.
Yeah. I mean, I always feel that funerals shouldn't be sad. They should be a celebration of people's lives. So, my mom passed this past March, and unfortunately, it was during COVID. And even though it was a Zoom funeral, we laughed because my mom was really funny, and my whole family's funny. So it was a joyful and sad thing at the same time. So to your point, yeah, it's okay to have more than one emotion. You know,
Yeah.
you can feel your feels, and play helps you to stay more resilient and authentic. You're not going to be sad. You don't want that toxic positivity when I have to be in a good mood all the time.
Right. Yeah. Stuff every other feeling.
You're
That's not,
right.
yeah.
And but when you get that spontaneous spark of laughter, just go for it. Just allow yourself to that enjoy the feeling. You know.
Oh my gosh. Now you're making me think of another. And this was my mom actually passed away in 1989, so long ago. And like, here we go. But this is going to turn into a funny story, I promise.
Okay.
But she was the organist and choir director at our church in our small town, and members of the choir came, and she had written a song, and they were all around her bed, as she was passing away. Actually, it was a beautiful, beautiful time, but they were singing and holding hands. Well, so a week or so after she passed away, we were working on the thank you cards, and it's going to make me laugh again. But my dad wrote, thank you for the casserole and for singing at Maryland's. And it was just because it's like, really, the casserole gets top billing, like, and again, just, in our, again, like, it was just a horrendous time. She'd been sick for only 3 days, but it was just, but yeah. So those triggers, those moments, and we all cried, laughed until we cried, because it was like that
Right.
it was a beautiful mixture, actually, of all of that.
And it's laughter can be a release, just like crying is.
Yeah.
Still,
Yeah.
it's a yeah, and it's I always think it's a great way to release tension and feel your feelings.
Yeah. So, what experience was it that motivated you to focus on play? Take us down this journey.
When I'm trying to think of a good story. So the best, I would say the one that stands out the most is my friend Gail, who was one of the most effective salespeople I'd ever met. Back in New York, I was when I first started in the corporate world, I was a media rep. We represented radio, television, cable, um, all the traditional media, and we sold their airtime to ad agencies. Well, when I started selling, I was either the youngest or one of the youngest sales reps in the country, because there were just a couple of hundred of us across the country. And because I got this job so young, I was calling on people who were like 20 years older than I was, and it was mostly women. And they were not thrilled to have this young whippersnapper who was basically making the same amount as they were, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm very hard on myself, and they were kind of hard on me. And one day I got to the point where I was kind of getting dizzy, and I was leaning over, putting my hands on my knees and breathe. I was basically having a panic attack.
Mm.
And my friend Gail was working. She and I were on different teams, but for the same company. She comes running over, puts her hands on my shoulders, and puts her nose about 2 inches away from mine, and basically did a verbal bitch slap to me. She says, Rona, snap out of it. This is not brain surgery. There is no blood. No one ever died from advertising. And it was like it was an epiphany. I'm like, holy shit. Oh, sorry. Holy moly.
I feel like you almost dropped an F-bomb right after the sorry for the S.
But let me do that again. And then I said, holy moly, she's right. And that was kind of the beginning of the change in attitude. She, I spent some time with her, and she showed me how she basically played with her buyers, and they loved her. So as soon as I changed and flipped my attitude, I was a better salesperson. They liked me more. I was better at self-deprecating humor, and they appreciated that. I asked them questions. I learned how to It was relationship selling as well as putting more play in it. And ever since then, I was very well aware of how play needs to be in business.
Love it. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
then you were making it wasn't the pressure of the doing. You were helping them, consultative sales, connecting,
exactly.
and
Right.
playing it like a game. I always say, and I know I shared this with you before, but like my work is play and I love it that way. Like it's just
Yeah,
like you just got to play it like a game. Then there's no pressure on anyone. I'm not pressured to
right.
make an outcome that's likely out of my control anyway. And I'm not trying to make you make a decision. I'm just playing it like a game, throwing it out there. Let's have some fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And when the most challenging thing for me is getting people to understand the difference that an attitude of play can make. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think back to when I first started as a coach. It was like over
Mhm.
15 years ago, so people didn't know that term. Well,
Mhm.
now they do. And I feel like play, I feel like you're on this beginning cusp that I
Right.
hope will become a bigger movement. But
Me too.
yeah,
Me too.
so now you have that extra hurdle, right? You got to teach
Exactly.
first
Exactly. Yeah.
so that
And
they understand why. Yeah.
right. Right. And my friend Jeffrey, who is a leadership and sales consultant, made this point. He said, 15 years ago, no one knew what storytelling was or how to put it into teaching
Mhm.
and leadership, and everyone's all about storytelling now.
Right.
And he said that's what's going to happen with play.
Yep. Hey, look at that. I'm board with your coach and sales friend. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So when you look back at the work that you've done with either individuals or teams, share a story where you like really made an impact for someone, and like that thing that the situation that you think back to that really fuels your passion. Like this is why I do what I do.
Well, we have two different divisions. We have a consumer division and we have a corporate division. The consumers is really more of the one-to-one, and it deals with the moms and parents who are working from home, because women are the worst for wear in all of these, and these are one-on-one attuned play sessions. And what for me, what really motivates me is when I see the difference in these people's faces,
Mm,
because after the very first session, they feel a difference and it kind of clicks.
mhm.
Like, oh, this is what it's supposed to feel like.
Mhm.
And in that same vein, when I go, like one of the first times I went into a company, they wanted they wanted like a weight loss and fitness thing. And I'm like, this is not what your company needs.
Mhm.
They need to play more. And they didn't quite get it. And then when I set it up, I said they will feel better. They will want to, have more physical well-being as well as mental well-being, and I will lead them in all different kinds of things. So when I saw in their faces, I took them through some. Um, I call them Wonder Labs. They're like lunch and learns, but Wonder Labs is a lot more fun to say. When they hear lunch and learn, it's like, oh God, I don't want to eat and just sit in a class. But
Right.
when I say Wonder Labs, wonder facilitates curiosity and it's all about creativity. And all of a sudden they're involved in these supposedly playful games that have no reason, but they actually do, which is the term purposeful play. And they realize that it's okay to play. That's it's I can see the light go on over their heads, and it's like, this is why I do this, because
Mm.
it changes their whole attitude. I often get people coming to me afterwards like, I so didn't understand what this was for, and now I get it. It's so much more than free beer and a ping pong table. you know
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and it's about taking risks and having fun and getting out of your comfort zone, and an attitude of play just helps life get better and better. And when you have a more positive mindset, your expectations about what will happen are just better, so that you're not as stressed. When we stress, we tend to concentrate on replays and imaginings. We
Mm,
replay things in our head that we make mountains out of molehills,
yep.
and then we imagine what might happen, and we visualize all these things that get bigger and bigger and bigger, and that's what stresses us out, when 99.73% of the time it never happens,
Mm-hmm.
and the only thing we have is the present moment. So when you play, you have to be present.
You know
And
what
when
also clicked for me?
what?
Oh my gosh. So, because I had not thought about this in this context, and you're going to say, like, oh, yeah, exactly. But so if you're doing the reimaginings
Yeah,
and kind of basically beating yourself up because of something that you didn't do well enough or whatever, or I should have said thus and such, whatever. So not only are you creating additional stress for something that already happened, but now you have anticipatory stress
exactly.
because now the next thing's going to be as bad. And then there's the moment of it. And then like how much worse you're going to make it after the fact.
Right.
Oh my
Because,
gosh.
yeah, because you're not, when you're not dealing and active listening, when you're present, you can listen actively, when most of us are anticipating what to say next
Mm-hmm.
instead of listening. And when you have that, imagining circumstance in your head, you're already figuring out what you're going to say to follow your mindset, instead of taking a step back and saying, I don't know what the heck's going to happen. So why not flip it and think awesome stuff is going to happen?
Yeah.
And
Well,
then you can come from that way.
and if you are playful,
Yeah.
yeah, then you can be more flexible and not tied and hold. I always make this fist like tied to a specific expectation of how you want it to be.
Yeah.
And if it's not exactly that, and it's going to be horrendous.
And
But yeah,
exactly.
if you can play and laugh at stuff.
And it's tough for a lot of people. It's still tough for me because I'm an A-type personality, and I have a control issue.
Mm-hmm.
All my friends will tell you that,
Yeah.
and it takes a lot for me to take a step back. And I've had people call me on my stuff and say, you're doing this. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so I am not perfect, and this is a process, which is, that's why we call it the Playful Mind Project, because everyone and everything is a project, because it's a process. We never end.
Mm-hmm.
We are always learning and getting better. So and when I am in my positive mindset, I find that whoever else I am dealing with, it's very catching. So I can change their mindset and change how things escalate or don't escalate, and it makes things better.
There is an awesome book, and shoot, now I'm forgetting what it's called. Shoot, I feel like running around the corner to my bookcase because they actually did research. Maybe you've read. I swear, we're gonna have to edit this part out. I'm gonna go get it.
Okay.
But it's because they did research, and the vibrations of energy and all of that, or of feelings, emotions have different vibrational energy, and that and that the emotion of one person, if you have the higher emotion, that it can be catching, just from the people
Is that
around us.
power versus force?
Yes, there you go. Yep,
Look at you. Yeah,
I knew it. Yeah, I knew you'd
Dr.
know
David
it.
Hawkins.
Yes,
Hawkins. Yeah.
yes, and
I know
and
that
it was
one.
referenced in Wayne Dyer's book.
Wayne Dyer.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and then yep, okay.
Yeah. And
Yes.
and it's absolutely true. If you try to force things, you have that force against you. What is it? E equals MC squared, or whatever. And if you just go with the flow, Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, I think that's how you pronounce it. He is a Dutch philosopher and researcher. He is all about, he um, coined the state of flow, when we're in that part of play that is just hard enough for us to enjoy ourselves without being bored, and being in the moment, enjoying whatever is. You're not coming against things that will stymie you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Awesome. So what's the biggest internal or external challenge that you've had to overcome in making your impact And how did you overcome it? I'm going to assume it's play.
Well, yeah. I think the internal challenge, and I'm still working on overcoming it, is, my big, hairy, audacious goal is to make play an industry. And it's obviously not there yet. I have a bunch of play friends, play experts, and they all come from different areas, and that's what keeps me going. Because if there's enough people who believe in it, and we're all friends, and we all help each other and push each other forward, because we realize that it's in such and it's in its infancy, so that if one person succeeds, it just pulls us all with them.
Mm-hmm.
And people, so many people say play will never catch on, and that's something that internally I have to be my own catalyst, and not believe them.
Yeah.
I have to keep my own counsel, basically. People think it's frivolous. People think adult play is pornography. It's all different things. When more and more studies are showing that it's a necessary part of company culture.
Yeah.
And then
100%.
yeah,
I
yeah.
agree. Go. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Well, because you had asked about internal and external,
Yeah.
and so my external challenge now is convincing C-level and HR execs to be open to something new. And where, this is a totally new world, and I believe that um, you can't solve a new problem with old solutions. And remote work has never been so prevalent. There's depression, isolation, there's loneliness, paranoia, ethical issues are popping up. And to get them out of their headspace for better mental health, yeah, you can provide counseling, but playtime is key, because it works a different part of the brain. And I believe, I think that it takes a really brave uh, CEO and a brave HR person to try something that they've never tried before, and to get their egos and their fear of losing their jobs out of the way. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I have, and I know you're seeing this too, without realizing it, HR, business owners, etc., are incorporating play and trying to help their team stay engaged and spending time with one another. Because what's happened is the remote work has everyone only participating in meetings together, but
Right.
you need the human interaction piece so that you can stay connected as people. And so they're actually building in play, but they don't realize it. They're saying like, let's get together for a remote like euchre tournament. Let's get together for, and so that's actually what they're doing.
And that's all play.
They just don't know.
Right.
And it's like, without even all the research behind it or all that, like, where are they just kind of accidentally ending up? Like, yeah, let's play together.
Exactly. They just don't realize what the actual name is, because it's, there are so many different forms of play.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's, and we help to bring that into the forefront. And, we have hundreds of games and activities and things to do that incorporate physical movement, laughter, yoga, improv, other kinds of wordplay and teamwork and fun that most managers and business owners don't know. So we'll work with the managers on a consulting basis to give them tools for their people, if this is what they want to do. So companies bring us in for different reasons. It's it depends. Every company is different, which is why we really have to ask a lot of questions, and work team by, each one is customized.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. That's the word.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I am just so, like, I see the vision so clearly that you are on the front end of a movement. I mean,
Thank you.
I'm just totally on board. And yeah, don't listen to the people that don't understand.
Right.
So delete.
Yeah, and that's, that is, if I had to tell anyone anything, like my words of wisdom is
Mm-hmm.
to keep your own counsel.
Yeah.
And if you know the why of your business, like, Simon Sinek says, know your why, that's all you need. Yes, would I like to make millions of dollars? Yes, I would. And so everyone who's listening has to hire me. But and but my why is much more intrinsic. It's the joy I get when I teach people to bring out their own joy and fun and play, because
Absolutely.
I've made a difference, and that's fantastic for me.
Well, and anyone who wants to make an impact or be an entrepreneur, I mean, I was just actually having this conversation with my son the other day. It's like you better love and just be absolutely in love with the end thing that it is that you're trying to do, because when you start
Right,
a business, you're wearing a million different hats. And it
right.
takes tenacity and flexibility and creativity and all of those things and courage. And so you better be absolutely in love with that thing. Like it
Well,
can't just be money. I mean, I'm not saying money's bad or don't make money. Yes, you
yeah,
need to make money or you can't continue to provide the services that you're
right,
trying to provide.
right,
But yeah, if that's your only motivation, it's going to be hard to keep the momentum going.
right. And especially, with family businesses, parents, grandparents, do not make. I'm sorry, that was so New York. Yo, do not make. If I'm from Long Island, I can't. It just bubbles out of me. If your children really don't want to go into the business, don't make them, because they
Yeah.
will be miserable. They won't be as productive, and and you'll be miserable. And in order to play with a family business, everybody has to be in 100%.
Yep. I got to go back to the people that have told you like, oh, this is never going to go anywhere and all of that. I know you are already doing this, but like pick your trusted advisors well.
Yes.
Because people love, I call them 2 cent, right? They're going to throw
Hmm.
in their 2 cents but they don't have a vested interest. They don't really have knowledge of what you're up to. They don't have your same perspective. They don't have, they're just not in your shoes, plain and simple. And so, it's a coveted spot that you give someone to have the privilege to speak into your life. And so if those other people just want to throw in their 2 cent, like that's exactly what it is. And you don't have to take it like
No.
just let it
Thank you
brush
for your input.
off. And
Yeah.
yes, exactly. And just be so intentional with those who have the knowledge, have your back. I was just saying the other day, like sometimes when people say like, oh, you can't do a business, that's their own fear or their own feelings of discouragement
In
that they didn't start their
Right.
own business. It doesn't have lots of times it doesn't have anything to do with you or your idea or any of that. Their little own filters coming out their mouth.
Oh, my mother went nuts when I became an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
And, because when, her generation,
Yeah.
you got a paycheck.
Yeah. Yep.
So
Well,
that's
in
okay.
that generation, and it's funny because my dad's the same thing. I've had my business for over 15 years and I get a new client and he'll be like, oh, maybe they'll hire you. It's like, that's never the goal. But, I appreciate it. He just loves me and he wants his daughter to be fine.
Exactly.
And from
Exactly.
his perspective, yeah, back in the day, like there was loyalty on both sides and you'd get a job and you'd work there forever and then retire. But like life
Right.
isn't like that anyway. Like, there isn't
I don't need it
stability in
both well.
anything right now.
Right. Exactly.
So, yes. So, so you've already shared some words of wisdom for others who want to make their own impact. Do you have anything extra to share?
Just, be open, while not, well, let me say that again. Keep your own counsel, but also keep an open mind, because as you speak to people who appreciate what you do and have ideas you may not have thought of, you may not like those ideas. It's kind of like extended brainstorming. When
Mm-hmm.
you're working with a team, you always want to yes and it, because once you say no, it cuts everything off, and that's one of the basic tenets of improv. When you're speaking to people who want to give you an idea, don't say no. Just be open to things that can help expand your business, that in ways that you may not have thought of, because everyone has a different thought process. And you may take that idea and make it your own, which will benefit. So even if you're keeping your own counsel, be open to ideas and listening to people who want to help push you forward. So that's what I would.
Great advice. So some people, you just got to shut them down. Others, take a quick little gander. There might be something of value. Even the people that you initially want to shut down, there still might be some nuggets in there.
Right.
Yes. Yes. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I've so enjoyed sharing this time with you today.
This
You
was
have,
great.
oh
Thank
my
you.
gosh, you've shared so much inspiration, and I want, yes, I look forward to seeing what you do with play in business, and I am your cheerleader, and I'm going to do what I can to help you push forward for sure.
Thank you.
So
Well, how about this?
important.
Why don't I give everybody a present? I'm going to give everyone homework, home play.
Great.
This is a self game. It's called Wander and Wonder. What you're going to do within the next week, you're going to take 20 minutes and you are going to wander around a place where you've never been before. Go outside of your neighborhood, go to a new store if you're allowed in. I don't know where you are, how open things are, even if it's window shopping. And wonder with a child's eyes. Why did they make those shoes purple? How did they build this building? Why is this flower, why does this flower have 13 petals on it? Just ask questions like a kid so that you can see the world with a beginner's eyes. And that alone will give you inspiration and ideas for creativity.
I love that. Aw.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Well, thank you, Rona, so much for spending this time with me. And please reach out to her. We'll have the links on the show notes from today. So you can go to defeatthedrama.com / well, actually just click the podcast site and then go to episode 181. And her link that will, again, be on the show notes is playfulmindproject.com / shift your work. Now, can they go just to the regular site too? What's the specific?
You can absolutely go to the regular site.
Yeah. And so, yes, go absolutely connect with her, and we'll have some notes from today's show as well. If you have a business or personal challenge that you're dealing with, I am happy to help you. Let's have a clarifying or a strategy session. Reach out, grab a spot on my calendar, go to defeatthedrama.com / call. I'm going to give you a breakthrough in 15 minutes or less. How's that sound? So I look forward to helping you make your bigger, bolder impact. Thank you for listening, and get out there and make it a great day.